Hey guys, what's going on? I hope you're all doing well. It is a beautiful Sunday. We are headed over to my shop to pick up some stuff. We're actually going to be working out of my house garage today for a very simple reason. It's just a little bit more comfortable, and I don't want to have to go running back and forth because at the end of the day, I'm just working on the Honda Fit. Nothing crazy, and I want to try to get this project done today. So we're going to be throwing some suspension on the car, doing the front brake pads, just some regular stuff to, really the only reason we're throwing new suspension on is for maintenance purposes. I just kind of noticed that the shocks were making a little bit of noise and they ride a little bit rougher than they probably should. I had ordered these parts a while ago, and it's time to just throw them on. So let's head over there now. All right, so we're back at the shop picking up this stuff. They've been kind of just sitting here. I don't know if you guys remember, we got the Bilstein shocks, H&R springs for the Honda Fit quite some time ago, and I was going to throw them on, and then I was kind of on the fence about it because I was like, I don't really want to go through all that for my daily driver, but I think the shocks need to be replaced, and while we're doing that, we'll just do the springs, and we're going to do the brake pads too, because we did the Stop Tech rotors on there just because that I actually bought for the silver Integra. Then I was going to throw on the black Integra. Then we ended up just upgrading brakes on everything. So they ended up going on the Honda Fit, but they chew through brakes on a daily driver for sure. If you guys are looking to put some brakes on your car, if you're daily driving your car, I probably wouldn't necessarily recommend putting a performance rotor on your car because they do kind of eat through your brake pads pretty quickly, even if you do have some decent brake pads on there. So I'm gonna load this stuff up. Got some running around to do. Got to pick up some brake pads, and then we're gonna get to work on the Fit. All right, we got this ripped apart. Shocks are out. We did this side already. So springs come out. This subframe slash cross member, whatever you want to call this, drops down. Spring pops out. Put the new one in. Make sure you grab these little rubber joints here, top and bottom. Make sure they go on the right way. We already pulled the shock out. The back is pretty easy on these cars. It's one bolt down there, one bolt up there, and we're gonna just do the other side. Pretty simple, keeping it easy. And yeah, I mean, the car's not that old, so it works. More common than not, here is the issue. So we were doing the suspension, and unfortunately the axle popped out. So this got put on hold. We got to get a new axle, and then we're going to finish this project up. So unfortunately, that's your standard issue working on a car. Even if it's a newer one, you're going to run into problems. And that was just me being careless and not taking the right precautions to hold the hub up the right way. So it is what it is. Now we did, however, pick up a motor for the black Integra. Now this is an LS VTEC, B18 bottom end, B16 top end, has a skunk 2 intake manifold, skunk 2 alpha throttle body, and it's seen better days, but it works for what we're gonna need it for. We have a rep head, Toda header that I'm actually probably gonna throw on the black car just because it is a better header than what's on there currently, and it's wrapped. So we're going to clean this thing up and maybe possibly get a B20 bottom end for it and get this thing ready to go into the black car in the event we need another motor. And it'll definitely be made hopefully. So that's it. It's frustrating. I'm sure you've all been there. When you're working on an older car, things are not going to go as planned all the time, and a lot of times you end up having to replace a lot more than you ever intended to begin with. So always keep that in mind when you're doing something as far as a project. If you want to lower your older car, if you want to do something in regards to modifications, or even if you're just doing maintenance, prepare yourself for complications or struggles or whatever the case is. So in this case, it was more along the lines of I was struggling with some of the bolts and everything. The car is a 2013, so it's coming up on 10 years old. A lot of people just don't maintain their cars that well, and if the car was kept outside, that explains all the rusty bolts, the crust, and why I had to replace end links, and we're replacing the full suspension now, pretty much almost everything, just because I want to make sure that when we put it back together, we don't run into an issue where we got to pull everything apart again to do it. So it's something to keep in mind when you're doing these projects yourself, and we'll get it done, get an axle, get that all replaced, and in the meantime, we're going to take the Cayman over to the shop so it can be kept inside. It's got to go to the detailer for the winter. Well, not for the winter, but we're going to get it detailed so it's clean, ready for the spring. And then we're going to get working on projects that need to get done, some new stuff that might be in the pipeline too. So we got that LSV tech. It does need to come apart. It's just not to my standard as far as everything, pretty much. I want to get the intake manifold repowder coated. I want to have the valve cover powder coated, or I might just be replacing the valve cover with a powder coated one. Want to have I may just be building a B20 block to use with the B16 head that's on that. I've already got the LSV tech kit, and I think it would make a lot of fun, because we would be shooting for about 200 wheel horsepower, and that could probably get it done. So that's it for now. You guys know the deal. If you like what you're watching, like, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care, guys.